What's going on, everyone? So, I was at my cousin's house yesterday for a family dinner. Just one of those Sunday afternoon gatherings where everyone brings food and we all sit around watching whatever football games are on TV. I wasn't really paying attention to the screen at first because I was in the kitchen helping clean up dishes and talking to relatives, but then I heard someone in the living room say, "Wait, are the Lakers really not going to do anything at the deadline?" And that caught my attention immediately. I walked into the living room wiping my hands on a dish towel and saw SportsCenter was on, and they were doing this segment about the Lakers' trade deadline strategy, with this analyst breaking down why standing pat might actually be the best move for Los Angeles if the right deals aren't available. I figured it would just be the usual Lakers need help takes, without much substance. But then, the conversation got really deep into asset management, cap flexibility, and whether it's better to make a bad trade or no trade at all. Everyone in the living room started getting into this heated debate about whether Rob Pelinka is doing a good job or completely failing the franchise. And I told everyone to quiet down for a minute because I wanted to actually hear what the analyst was saying. We ended up sitting there for like 45 minutes, watching SportsCenter go through this incredibly detailed breakdown of the Lakers' current situation, why most realistic trade targets aren't available, what the offseason could look like with more assets and cap space, and then ultimately how Donovan Mitchell could be the kind of swing-for-the-fences move that makes trading away significant pieces worth it, despite all the arguments for patience. Let me walk you through everything that went down on that segment, because the way they connected the frustration of inactivity to asset preservation to long-term planning to Mitchell as the exception, that proves the rule was honestly some of the most thoughtful front office analysis I've heard all season. Hey, what's up, everyone? 1 second before we dive in, that like button right there, hit it now. Takes literally 1 second, but makes a massive difference in growing this channel and reaching more fans. Just smash that, like real quick. Every like pushes this video further, so do me that favor right now. So they opened the segment with this premise that the analyst gets asked regularly about how he'd feel if the Lakers didn't do anything at the deadline, if they just stood pat. He was maintaining his position that no trade is better than a bad trade. And if nothing's there, you don't want to force the issue. He knows as fans it's incredibly frustrating. Grab your pitchforks. What is Rob doing? All of that. He gets the anger and impatience, but we've seen desperate trades before. Russell Westbrook was brought up immediately as the cautionary tale, along with the Luol Deng and Timofey Mozgov signings, which weren't trades, but were desperate moves by Mitch Kupchak, who knew he was on his way out and was trying to salvage something. Those kinds of panic decisions set franchises back years, and the Lakers can't afford to make that mistake again. The analyst was making this point, that the Lakers are actually in great shape next offseason. They'd have 3 first-round picks, 4 pick swaps, 2 second-rounders, a bunch of stuff to really revamp the roster. They'd have some of the most cap space of any team in the league with Luka and Austin Reeves locked in, and they can figure out what they want to do from there. If LeBron sticks around, he's probably taking a discount because nobody's giving him $50+ million at this stage of his career. So the Lakers might be in their best interest to stand pat if the right move isn't available. There's not a ton of real starting-level players that the Lakers need available right now. Andrew Wiggins, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, maybe Miles Bridges, but Andrew Wiggins has Miami wanting the farm for him, and it doesn't make sense for the Lakers at that price. Trey Murphy and Herb Jones came up as the ideal target, but the Pelicans don't seem interested in trading right now because they believe they'll get more value in the offseason, which they would. There are going to be teams that were close and need one more piece. Teams that lose guys in free agency. Teams that have more assets like the Lakers will have after this season. If you're the Pelicans, why would you trade Herb Jones when the Lakers only have 1 first-round pick right now, but will have 3 in the offseason? The price is 3 picks now, and maybe you settle on 2 later. You're in the driver's seat as New Orleans. These guys are locked up long-term, so it's not like the Pelicans risk losing them in free agency. There's no urgency on their end to help the Lakers, so forget Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, which the analyst has said from the beginning are unlikely. Andrew Wiggins' price has to drop significantly for that to make sense. Miles Bridges has Charlotte kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because they want to see how their core looks now that they're getting healthy, and they've been winning games recently. And this is where Donovan Mitchell entered the conversation as the exception, the one player worth breaking all these rules of patience for. The analyst wasn't advocating for standing pat necessarily. He was laying out the case for why most moves don't make sense, but Mitchell is different. The title contention motivation for Mitchell was discussed first. He'd have the chance to join Luka Doncic, one of the best young players in the league, and veteran LeBron James in pursuit of an NBA championship. That's an immediate pathway to competing for titles that Cleveland simply can't offer right now, despite their solid roster construction. The Los Angeles market appeal is huge for someone like Mitchell. Playing in the massive media and entertainment market of Los Angeles remains a significant factor for leveraging his personal brand and sponsorship opportunity. The difference between being a star in Cleveland versus being a star in LA is exponential in terms of commercial value and global recognition. The backcourt partnership was highlighted as potentially elite. Mitchell, as a dynamic and explosive scorer, would form a powerful and versatile two-guard lineup with Doncic, complementing the Slovenian's playmaking skills. When you have two guys who can both score 30 on any given night and create for others, that's incredibly difficult to defend, regardless of who else is on the floor. Taking advantage of LeBron's closing championship window came up as urgent motivation. The window to win a title with LeBron James is rapidly closing, and Mitchell could be the missing piece to solidify the Lakers as an immediate title contender rather than a play-in team hoping to get hot. You don't waste the final elite years of an all-time great, and Mitchell gives you the best chance to maximize what's left. But then, the segment went back to discussing why patience might still be the better play for most other targets. The Lakers are very limited on assets right now, so are you really going to give up what little you have for role players who don't move the needle? Supposedly, the Lakers don't want to mess up their financial flexibility for the future if they can't get a clear-cut starter, which might rule out guys like Terrence Mann, Josh Green, or Patrick Williams, even though those are solid players. Maybe you take on Patrick Williams if you can get Ayo Dosunmu in the process, because those are two guys who really help. But the Lakers don't want to mess up that cap space, because all the guys available now will also be available in the offseason. One thing about the last few off-seasons is there hasn't really been the market that makes sense for the Lakers. The analyst was pushing back on the narrative that the Lakers never improve in the offseason, saying people need to actually go look at who was available. The Kendrick Nunn signing at the time was great. Christian Wood was great. They just didn't pan out. But there wasn't really anyone better available. Same with Gabe Vincent coming off a great run with Miami. The Lakers usually get the premier guys available, but if you actually examine the free agent markets over the last few years, there wasn't much there that fit their needs and budget. The franchise has needed trades more than free agents, and we haven't gotten them because the team set itself back with the Russell Westbrook experiment. You had the team with LeBron and AD, then Westbrook wanted to play together, so they traded pieces to get him. It didn't work and was a disaster, so they had to give up assets to get off Westbrook, which brought in pieces that helped reach the conference finals, but left them limited in assets to upgrade and address key needs. The Buddy Hield and Miles Turner trade veto by Jeannie Buss was brought up as a massive what-if moment. The analyst still believes to this day the Lakers win the championship if that trade happens. Rob Pelinka had it done. It was reported as completed and in the process of being filed, but Jeannie Buss vetoed it. That would have given them Dennis Schroeder, Buddy Hield, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Miles Turner bare minimum going into that season. Austin Reeves probably still has his emergence, because that came from LeBron getting hurt, so you'd still have Reeves developing. The Lakers made several trades that deadline without giving up their first-round pick. They got Jard Vanderbilt, D'Angelo Russell, and Malik Beasley for Westbrook, and a protected first. Maybe you could have gotten Vanderbilt for a couple seconds instead, since the Lakers traded 4 seconds for Rui Hachimura later. The playoff matchups would have been even better with Turner and AD against the Warriors, and they'd have been better equipped against the Nuggets. But when you don't make that move and instead acquire a bunch of guys who don't pan out aside from Vanderbilt, who's been incredibly impactful, you're essentially just getting off Westbrook's contract and playing catch-up the rest of the time. There haven't been the free agents available to upgrade the roster significantly enough to solve all the needs the Lakers have had for several seasons, because they haven't had the assets, and the players haven't been available. But this offseason, they will. They'll have the assets, and the players will be available. So there's a huge argument to just stand pat. If nothing's there, go into the offseason and build out the team in a way where they're contenders for the next handful of seasons. The analyst acknowledged the frustration, though. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and it's infuriating as fans. If Rob Pelinka doesn't make a trade, we're all going to be furious, because we clearly need help. But we don't know what conversations are happening. If Keon Ellis costs a first-round pick right now, that doesn't make sense unless they drop the asking price. What is Pelinka supposed to do? Make a bad trade? If you have to sell the farm for Andrew Wiggins, do you do that? Some might think so, but the analyst doesn't. You stand pat at that point. He wishes there was a way for fans to be a fly on the wall or have video of the conversation so we'd have better understanding, but it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. And this is where everything circled back to Donovan Mitchell as the player who changes the entire calculation. If you're going to stand pat, which again, the analyst isn't a huge fan of but understands, you need to at least consider trading LeBron. Sure, you could have a puncher's chance keeping the team together, but can you get Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody from the Warriors in a LeBron trade? That might mess up some cap space, but those are two young, athletic, versatile players you need. Kuminga has star potential, he just needs the opportunity and role. Moody is that ideal 3-and-D guard dark wing who can shoot and defend. Maybe you take on Buddy Hield's contract too in that deal and stay away from Jimmy Butler. Let Golden State keep Butler and play LeBron, Draymond, Butler, and Steph together and see if they can win a championship. If LeBron wants to stay and ride out the season, that's fine, but at least initiate the conversation. Ask him what he wants. Are we exploring trades that fit our direction? Or does he want to stick around and see what happens? If he says, keep him, then keep him. If he's open to exploring trades, then make the move. But the Mitchell scenario is completely different, because he's young enough at 28 to be part of the next era, while also being good enough right now to maximize what's left of the LeBron window. Trading for Mitchell isn't a desperate win-now move that mortgages the future. It's a strategic acquisition of a franchise cornerstone who helps you compete immediately and for years to come. The other thing the analyst would like to see is starting to lay some foundation even with smaller moves. There are guys available now who will be available in the offseason for free, but there are several restricted free agents you could acquire who you'd have control over and bird rights for. Getting 1 or 2 restricted free agent guys gives you so much more control and ability to go over the cap to retain them. Can the Lakers at least get 2 second-tier guys in smaller deals? That would be great to supplement the roster, even if you can't land the big fish. But Mitchell is the big fish worth actually going after, because he checks every box. Young enough for the future, good enough for now, fits the Luka timeline perfectly, plays in a way that complements Luka's strengths. The trade package for Mitchell would obviously be massive. You're talking about multiple first-round picks, young players, salary matching, basically everything the Lakers have available to offer. Cleveland would want a king's ransom for their franchise player, but if you're Los Angeles and you can pair Mitchell with Luka and LeBron for this season and potentially the next few years of Luka's prime, you strongly consider it, despite all the arguments for patience. The urgency factor with LeBron at 40 years old can't be overstated. You don't have time to develop young players or wait for the perfect opportunity in the offseason. You need to maximize these final elite LeBron years. Mitchell gives you the best chance to do that, while also setting up the next decade with Luka and Donovan as your franchise cornerstone. The market size and brand implications for Mitchell personally can't be ignored either. Being a Laker means something globally that being a Cavalier doesn't, as unfair as that might be to Cleveland. The exposure and commercial opportunities in LA would take Mitchell's already significant profile and multiply it several times over. What really struck me about this entire SportsCenter segment was how they balanced the patience argument with the Mitchell exception. It wasn't just blindly saying, make a move at any cost, or stand pat no matter what. It was nuanced analysis of when to be patient and when to strike. Mitchell represents the rare opportunity worth abandoning the wait-until-summer strategy because he solves problems both short and long-term. So what do you guys think? Should the Lakers stand pat at the deadline and build through the off-season with more assets? Or should they go all in on Donovan Mitchell now, even if it means giving up everything they have? And would Cleveland even trade Mitchell to the Lakers, or would they demand so much that it's not worth it? Let me know in the comments, because after watching SportsCenter break down every angle of the Lakers' deadline dilemma, from asset management to specific targets, to the Mitchell exception, I'm genuinely torn between being patient and making the big swing right now.